3. Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porkys Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. But then again, you know that, don't you? Because that's why you've tuned in. First of all, this video is going on the members area, and I want to thank everybody who is a member. Thank you very much. Thank you for liking and subscribing as well. Right, today I'm joined by Ken from Northern Ireland, the Hardcore's Hardcore. Over to you, Ken. How are you doing?
Good, Russell. It's good to get on the members area again. And I just want to say thanks very much to everyone who joined the members area for supporting the channel, not-for-profit channel. Everything goes back into the channel for production. So thanks very much. And thanks for all the positive comments.
We're filming the Helmets of the Month tomorrow, and that's not cheap, but I think that we at least have to do 1 or 2 a month. That's, you know, decent, you know, proper, better than what I can do. And soon, who knows, we might be doing 20 a month like that. Who knows? You never know what's around the corner, do you? If you try your hardest and you're truthful and you put the effort in, and nobody can say I haven't put the effort in, right? Right, first of all, can I just ask you, Ken, who's your favourite fighter of all time and why?
My favourite fighter of all time is Roberto Duran.
Do you remember the run he had in the 70s?
Unbelievable. He's the greatest lightweight fighter of all time. 13 defenses and only 1 went the distance with him.
Would he beat Mayweather at lightweight?
He has smashed him to pieces, Russell.
Would he?
Destroyed him. Yeah, I think Mayweather's shoulder roll has been so effective because people haven't been really able to break it down and dissect it. I think someone with Duran's power and hand speed and boxing IQ, I think he would have smashed Mayweather to pieces. Smashed him. I'll say that for me, like, you always know, there's you either say something with your heart or your head, and I'm saying that with my head. He, in my opinion, he's the greatest fighter of all time.
Well, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Like, is that pound for pound across the board?
Yeah. You know, he started off at lightweight, and past his days, he went up and fought for the WBC super middleweight title. He won a middleweight title, and that was him past his best. You know, the thing I love talking about is he went up and fought the great Marvin Hagler, who's my second favorite fighter of all time, at middleweight, and I only had it by 3 rounds to Hagler, and Hagler at that time was just a phenomenon and a wrecking ball at middleweight. Yeah. And he gave him absolute fit. So it's my opinion, it's the whole package, the whole person, you know, the growing up in absolute poverty in Panama, fighting in the streets as a young boy, knocking out. He used to knock out sailors and take their money off them outside brothels and bars. You know, that's backstory. And the person he is, you know, the person he is now, he's so happy and positive, and he's just enjoyed his life. And from my opinion, what he gave to boxing, you know, he had a 31-year career. What he gave boxing it's incredible. I love him. I absolutely love him.
Okay. It'd be interesting to see who Richard's favourite fighter is from my friend from Rotherham, wouldn't it? Who you have just introduced you to. I want Richard. You have to text me. Who's your favourite fighter? I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know it was Duran. Your favourite though.
Yeah, it's Duran. I always dabble in and out. You know, I go through like phases of researching fighters, and then whoever I research at the time, I'm like, he's my favourite fighter. I went through a big period of Marvin Hagler. You know, I love Marvin Hagler. I think Hagler's probably second, if not first, greatest middleweight of all time. But I always come back to Roberto Duran. I love him. I watched the documentary, I Am Duran. I must have watched it 10 times. I just love it. He's incredible. And Richard, I hope you're watching, mate. And I've been chatting to Richard over the weekend. And what a great guy to have on the channel. What great knowledge Richard has. He has been a asset to the channel. He's going to be an asset to the channel.
Yeah, well, it's growing all the time, channel.
Brilliant. It's I don't think you get the credit you get, Russell. I know you don't want any credit, but I don't think there's many guys out there that puts the work in that you do, and you're getting the rewards of it now through the channels blowing up. So I'm not kissing your ass.
No, I know you don't. Listen, man, people don't understand what it entails. It started off as a bit of a joke and a bit of a laugh, and now it's not. It's, you know, there's people who make a living off this channel. Not me, but I don't pay any expenses out anymore like I were doing. But you know, for 3 years I did. But there's people who do get a living out of it off this. You know, the tech guys and stuff like that. And soon it'll all change. You know what I mean? The way we're going, but you have to lay the foundations, don't you?
It's creative, original content, Russell.
Well, what it is, you see, right? We do. I'm a bit like Marmite, aren't I? And I'm a bit like that in real life, because you hear that much bullshit in life. Obviously, we're spending a lot of time in prison. I've heard every story there is. And this is why I see through people very quickly. And this is why I stop knocking around with certain people. If people are going to sit there bullshitting, I don't want to hear it, because I've heard years of it. And boxing is full of it. The criminal underworld, which I know very, very well, there's more respect through that than there is in boxing. People will stick a knife in you at boxing. They'll smile to you and talk to you on phone, but in next breath, they've got people sat next to them listening to your conversation or recording you and things like that. It's low lives, and I'm going to expose a lot of them. If they get in my way, well, just do what they need to, just do what they've got to do, because these people don't bother me. Oh, I won't be frightened. Threats and intimidation doesn't work with me. Don't work. I'll just go back even more. You'll see it. You'll see this week. There's going to be some stuff happening on this channel this week, and you'll see what I think about people who want to try and be bullies and intimidate, whether they want to do it through threats or through other people or through lawyers. Well, let me tell you this. I just come back even more. So get ready, because it's going to be a great ride in next 7 days. I can assure you of that.
Russell, you're like Freddy Krueger of boxing. You just keep coming back.
Just keep coming back. I'm like Jason out Friday 13th.
Absolutely, come back. You keep evolving and coming back stronger and stronger and stronger. It's well,
they can't beat me any uglier than I am. I've had police knock my teeth out in back of the cop car. I've had top of my ear bit off. I've been stabbed. I've had guns in my mouth. I've been kidnapped, stripped bollock naked, and asked where my jewelry were. At the time, I just had this a black watch on that I've got. And where's that other watch? With even no serial number of it. So I can go through all that and 10 years in jail over a 12.5 year period. I could go through all that, being in prison with IRA bombers, murderers, people that killed the family and put them in oven, people like that, armed robbers, drug dealers, rapists, a lot. If I can go through all that from age 20 to 33, obviously I did a bit of detention centre when I was 16, go through all that. This, to me, is like a luxury, innit? So they're barking up the wrong tree, saying they're going to do this and going to do that, all these in comment section. It don't mean anything to me, that. I just laugh at it.
Russell, who's the most infamous underworld? Because I study true crime and stuff, and I've always been interested. Yeah. Who's the most infamous prisoner you've been in bed with?
Infamous person that I've been in prison with. Infamous. Let me think. I don't know. There's loads, isn't there? To me, they were. I'm not going to say the names because I've been in prison with all sorts of people. There were some prisoners, some lads from Leeds who I got on with really well. I'm not going to say the names in here, and I thought they were proper. I'll say one of the best kids I've ever met in prison was a kid from Leeds called Dennis Slade, an armed robber, a serious gangster. If you Google him, Dennis Slade, I was in prison with Dennis, and he was a young lad then, and I was. He was a nice guy. But there's been people who've been on jail circuit when I've been in there. Peter Fury was in prison when I was doing my time. He was doing a 10, I was doing a 5. He were on the same circuit. Who else was it? Paul Sykes. You know Paul Sykes, the fighting
Oh
man.
yeah,
He
yeah.
were on the 4s, and I were on the 1s, and the screw said, "Don't go up there, because he'll knock you out, take you in a cell, and bugger you." And I was like, "Wow, this was my 21st birthday." You know what I mean? So Paul Sykes were in there. Delroy Showers, have you heard of him? He were in prison.
No,
What, Delroy Showers? He's a Liverpool gangster, isn't he? Uh, there's been loads. There were an IRA bomber were in jail when I were in there. He were all right. I forgot his name. He were in old prison when I were in. ABI's been in jail while I've been in jail. Who else? Nazim Ahmed. I never got to speak to him. They kept him in reception, but he were in the same prison when I was. You could go on forever. The Jeffrey Archer, he were in prison when I was.
the writer.
The writer, yeah. Jeffrey Archer, he were in jail at the same time as me. You could go on forever, but everybody's different. Everybody's got different problems, haven't they? And murderers, there's been murderers, been in jail with murderers. Like people, like I said, a guy called Trevor, they chopped all his family's body parts up and put them in an oven and all that. Like, but you don't read about that in the Sun newspaper because they don't want Joe Public to know about things like that. I read in the guy's depositions and I thought, wow, I owe him a pot noodle or super noodle. I better give him his packet of 20 pence super noodles back.
It's canteen money.
Yeah, I bet. Otherwise, I might end up in a wooden box. I was in jail. I tell you what is funny. I noticed on the internet, Mark Crossley seems to be making a living out of telling Brian Clough stories, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Yes.
Well, Mark Crossley went to court, Crown Court, with his cousin Andrew, and they ran in this house and filled this bloke in, pissed up. And Andrew ended up getting jail for it. Mark Crossley, I think he got a big fine or something, a massive fine. Andrew went to prison. He were next cell to me for months, and he used to tell me loads of Cloughie stories and stuff like that. Keeps you going through your sentence. Because my advice to people who are in prison or might be end up going in prison is this: you've got to find something to latch onto, whether it's listening to radio every night, to football, to following your team, to running I used to run this like a raffle thing, and everybody would pick 6 football matches, and whoever picked the most would win the pot. Everybody would throw in £2 worth of canteen. You've got to have something to get you through it. It's all about little victories. So, but when you first go in, you don't understand about things like that. But you've got to find something, whether it's training in your cell, phoning your missus, going up every night, or writing letters. You have to find something. And as humans, we're creatures of habit. So what we do, we tend to do something to keep your mind occupied, because it's your mind that controls the rest of your body. For example, if you're going to do 11 months in solitary confinement, which I've done, you ain't got no in there. So you'll have to find something to keep you going. So all you can do is exercise, can't you? Or you can go mad, scream all day, bank wall, and go mad. But I always think that you've got to have a good temperament, and it's about mental strength. If you're not mentally strong, you can't do it. You've got to be tough as boots as well inside. Now, mental strength in prison is something that you'll need, because it's like having a dark cloud over you. It's like being in a sardine can, isn't it? So you've got to be mentally strong to escape that sardine can. You can imagine that you might be walking with your family on holiday on the beach. You've got to be mentally strong to get through it. But I always found that writing letters and colouring books and stuff like that, you've got to keep your mind ticking, crosswords, stuff like that. You've got to set your day. You've got to set a schedule out. One thing about prison is, and I don't want to go off key here, but you're up at 7 a.m, get up, do a bit of exercise, go get your breakfast. Then you'll go on exercise yard, come back, do a bit more exercising. Then you'll have your lunch. Then you go back to your cell, do a bit more exercising, do a letter, answer your mail when it comes, read a magazine, read, educate yourself, do a bit more training then, and then get ready for your tea. They'll let you open you up like you do a dog when you take it for feeding. They'll take you down, only thing missing is your lead, go get your food, go back to your cell, take your time eating your meal, think. Then do a bit of exercising after that. Then sit in your sink, pour cups of water on your sink, have a sink wash. Then put your radio on, listen to your radio, then try and drop off to sleep at like 9 o'clock at night. Because if you go to bed at 9 and you get up at 7, you're only doing a 14-hour day, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why
that's brilliant.
that's why I could never understand why people in there wanted to take cocaine, because you're just going to be up for days, aren't you? You're doing more jail. So try and do as much sleeping as you can and as much exercising and reading, and just try and keep busy. But there ain't a lot to do, but you will adapt. Humans adapt because we're creatures of habit. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, you get through it, don't you? You get through it. And listen, it's a roller coaster, but some of the best times in my life I had in prison. Some of the worst times as well, though. But you got to adapt, haven't you? And if you can do it with a smile on your face, you're not letting them get you down, eh, kid?
No, brilliant. It's great advice. And it's just about stimulating your mind as well as your body. It's the body, you can train your body every day and do all sorts of sessions and train, but your brain needs stimulation as well. So,
I see people come in prison like that. They walk on ring, carpet under each arm, and everybody said, oh, he's a big lump. And I said, you know him? When lights are out tonight, you'll hear him cry like a baby. And 9 times out of 10, they did, because they're not mentally strong. They're not mentally strong. You've got to be mentally strong. Everybody has a bad night. You might have 2 bad nights a year in prison where you're just like, you know, you might think I've got another 3 summers of this, and you might have a bit of beef with somebody in there. You might have got let down on a visit. You might have not got a letter. You might not have got a postal order sent in, and it can build up and it can get on top of you. You might have had a Dear John. Everybody has different problems. But I always felt that if you're in prison, it's best off not to have a missus. Best off to get rid of her. And then you've got to be mentally strong. It's like going into a jungle. You got to be mentally strong if you're going into a jungle, aren't you? With all them animals and snakes about, aren't you? And that's what it's like. Mental strength will get you through it. If you're not mentally strong, fish food. That's what I think, anyway. But you've got some topics you want to talk about, Ken? Fire away. I'm all yours.
Okay, so we had a great weekend of boxing and over your side of the pond in America. We had Tank against Barros. Absolutely brilliant fight, Russell. Did you watch the fight?
Yeah, I watched it, yeah, and he won it in the 11th round, but I don't think he is in good shape. He don't look as in good shape as he did 2 years ago, does he?
No, I think he's gone through. I think Tank is a very explosive athlete. He's pure white fiber. He's got that absolute knockout power. But I think endurance wise, I think the reason they're bringing up the weights is because his discipline isn't great outside of camp. You know, his weight fluctuates. I thought he looked very fleshy. I think he's just jumped up to that weight because he has to train a bit less.
Yeah.
But skill wise, where do you rate him? Would you rate him now, Russell, in the pound for pound top 10?
No, I won't. Not skill wise, I won't. No, knockout power, I would. Yes, I think he's up there with Beat Beeve or Beat Biturbia, Wilder, and the other guy. His name's gone from me now. There's Beat Beeve, Wilder. Who's the other guy who's knocking everybody out?
He's a light heavyweight.
Pardon? Beat Beeve's a light heavyweight, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Wilder.
The other guy you're talking about is a light heavyweight as well.
Bivol.
No, not Bivol. There's another guy there. I forget his name. He's 17 and 17 wins. He's a light heavyweight. He is with Top Rank. I forget his name.
Is he from Kazakhstan?
Yes.
Is that him who won at weekend or undercard?
No, this is another guy. This is another.
They're all freakish punchers, aren't they? From there, aren't they?
Yeah, it's just the genetics they have. You go back in their generations, and Terry talks about it quite a lot. And he's like, and you have spoke about, it's not that gym strength, it's that kind of genetic strength. It's that adaptive physiology over generations.
Yeah.
So that's where they get their natural power. But going back to Tank, Tank has only had was his only second pay-per-view card in America.
Yeah.
Do you think he's got the profile he should have at this stage of his career?
No, I don't. I don't think he's being promoted correctly, Tank. I don't think he's disciplined enough, and he's hanging around with dickheads like Adrian Broner.
Do you think it's kind of now boxing's went where, do you think the promoters in boxing now, like we've got Tank, who is an absolute superstar in my opinion. He should have had that massive breakout fight, but is that his fault, or do you think now promoters are more about promoting themselves and their own brand rather than their own fighters?
I don't know, I'm not sure on that. I don't think, looking at Tank, right, he looks to me like he can't fucking read all right when you look at him. He looks to me like a bit of a dummy. Do you know what I mean? He looks illiterate, a delinquent, and I bet he is. I know that's harsh, but I think he's a delinquent. He's like Scooby-Doo when he talks. You can imagine him being gullible and easy led. I mean, I bet Mayweather was getting $1 million under the table just for pimping him out. He'll not be on the money he should be on him, He'll, Tank Davis, he'll end up another Meldrick Taylor.
I hope not. I just see that the comparisons between him and Broner. Broner had a great start to his career, and then all of a sudden, he just started.
The wheels came off, didn't they?
He started believing his own hype, and he's went through multiple trainers. His weight, skill-wise, Broner is a fantastic fighter, but you look at his weight, he should never have been up those weights. He's been inactive. He's lost every big fight he's been in. Like every proper big fight he's been in, he's lost, and apparently he's absolutely skint. Can you see that happening to Tank?
No, I can't really. I can't. Sorry. Yeah, I can see it happening. I don't. Look, he's supposed to be earning millions, so surely somebody's got to be looking out for him. But Broner's bankrupt, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he were offered 40 million to sign with Jay-Z, wasn't he? And he said, no, I'm staying with Uncle Al. But it didn't work out for him, did he? But his discipline's a problem. You know what will happen with Broner? Eddie Hearn will end up with Broner. Mark my words, Eddie Hearn will end up with Broner, and he'll try and tidy him up and that, and he'll feed him to whoever, and then he'll end up another Lee Purdy, won't he?
Yeah, he's been trying to get Broner in for a couple of years. I can see that down the line, even like a Conor Benn fight. I think they'll try and get him in, and they'll get him a couple crap wins, stupid, worthless wins, and feed him to Conor Benn. Yeah. But going back to the Tank Davis and the Barrios fight, Johnny Nelson made a comment about basically that Virgil Hunter was the best trainer in boxing, and he has this unpenetrable style. Do you think that the first 3 rounds in that fight was basically a chess match, and none of them really did anything?
No.
And do you think, like, for Davis stepping up to that weight with a much bigger man who's like lengthwise and with the attributes he had, do you think that Virgil Hunter's style and techniques at the weekend cost a win?
Cost Barrios the win, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, this is how I look at it. Virgil Hunter, I don't rate, right? Yeah, he's had Andre Ward, but he hasn't had another world champion, has he? And he's had a lot of people through his books, hasn't he? But he's not won a world title with anybody, has he, other than Ward? And I just think that Virgil Hunter talks a good game and has made a fantastic living off of Andre Ward. And let's face it, Andre Ward's style would put a glass eye to sleep. It's shocking, mate. It's shocking. Yeah, it's effective, but it's not fan-friendly, is it? He's made a living out of that. He didn't do no for Amir Khan. He didn't do no for Angulo, did he? James Kirkland iced him, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Put him asleep. And James Kirkland had a porcelain chin. Anytime anybody hit James Kirkland, he was put out. I think he was afraid of Van Wolf as coach even. I think she even knocked him out.
Listen, mate, I'd be scared of Van Wolf, mate. Listen, if Van Wolf knocked on my door and said, "Okay, you need to shut this channel down. I've had enough of it," I'd say, "No problem, man." I'd shut it down. Anybody else, I'll tell them to fuck off. If Van Wolf comes here, it's on top, mate. Trust me. Did you see what she did to that 6'6" woman?
Sent
her into orbit. Orbit.
Oh my word! What a trainer that would be. Here, she would be like the Peter Fury of female boxing. You wouldn't turn up to training late for Anne Wolf, so you wouldn't. Have you seen her do pads? Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, that style, they're talking now. Joshua Buatsi went the Virgil Hunter to change his style and be more exciting and to be more offensive, but he's went to probably one of the most negative defensive coaches in the world. I think you're right. Outside of Andre Ward, Andre Ward is a natural boxing talent, could have went to any coach, and anybody could have had that success with Andre Ward, but. Yeah. I feel it cost him the fight at the weekend, just that negative Virgil Hunter style.
Negative, mate. He did it to Amir Khan. Amir Khan made a living out of having a tear up. He tried to turn Amir Khan into Andre Ward, and he got put to kip, didn't he?
Yeah, he get put. There was too much break. There was too much times where in between shots there was too much time just pausing and fencing. And look what happened. Look what happened against Kalano. The other fight on that weekend was the return of Lomachenko. What did you think of Lomachenko's return?
I don't think it's the same fighter.
Why is that, Russell?
I don't know. There's something missing from it. I think he needs to go down a weight. That's just my opinion, mate. I think he's fighting at the wrong weight. What do you think?
I thought stylistically, I thought he looked a bit like the old Lomachenko of like a year ago. That side to side fencing style. I thought he looked better than he has done. I thought he looked. I didn't think he was particularly great in the Luke Campbell fight. I didn't think he was.
Fought though, weren't Lopez, were he? You're not a Lopez, fight, were he? So he was there to look good, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I thought he looked better. He wasn't fighting Teofimo Lopez, but he fought a really good fighter, and it looked, watching the fight, to me, I was speaking to Richard about this, it looked like a mismatch.
Yeah.
And that's how good Lomachenko is, but I think you're right. I think he's caught up in that weight-wise. I don't think it's the right weight for him. I think he's kind of stuck in, he's only 5'7", 5'6". So I think he's caught at that crossroads in the middle. I don't know. Do you think the Lopez rematch will happen?
I want to see it. Because I think that he'll make adjustments. That's what I think. But we're going to see how. He had that many fights, really, to be honest. But he's a well-schooled guy. And I remember a story, Macklin saying that he were at a tournament in amateurs, that he was sat there with Smiths and other people, and they were all just watching him on bag and stuff like that, and on pads and that. They were in awe of him, back in the day.
Yeah, that style and what he does, and his dad took him away from boxing at a certain age and had him dancing and had him doing all these multi-discipline sports to create, motor neurons, his reflexes, his speed, his feet. They've just built this complete fighter that a lot of people say we haven't seen before, but we have seen flashes on it with other fighters. I'll go back to the 50s, and You look at fighters like Jersey Joe Walcott, whose feet, who's pivoting and feet. You watch defensively. You watch at fighters like Archie Moore, who did George Foreman. Yeah,
Archie Moore.
Yeah.
With shoulder roll.
Yeah, you look at Archie Moore, and George Foreman brought Archie Moore in to change his style for the comeback. Even Bernard Hopkins mimicked a lot of. You look at Bernard Hopkins, the way he fought under Bowie Fisher, it was kind of like a hybrid Archie Moore. So this is stuff that the hardcore fans, that the people like us, we've seen this before. We've seen these types of things before, but it's not something we haven't seen before, but it's all been put together. So I'm going to ask you a question, Russell.
Yeah.
So you've got that Hispanic market in Mexico that Lopez represents. It's a massive market.
Yeah.
And you have that market that Lomachenko has, that it's kind of like a bit of everyone, that's not as a big a market. For you, who do you think Bob Arum, as a promoter of that fight, would want to win?
If they're both his fighters?
Yep.
Is Lopez Bob Arum's?
Yep.
I don't know. I think Bob Arum would probably want to get a trilogy out of it, knowing him, as he'd probably want to do a Tim Bradley and Manny Pacquiao job on it, wouldn't he? Because the businessmen, these people, they talk about loving the fighters and this and that. Look, promoters love themselves. Every single one. They love themselves. They don't love fighters. They love money. I remember seeing interviews when Bob Arum was saying that he loved Floyd Mayweather and blah, 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 and he felt protective of him and all that, and Oscar De La Hoya. But once these people flee the nest, they just, it turns to hate, doesn't it? That's what happens. So Bob Arum don't care for Lomachenko and he don't care for Lopez. He cares for money. Bob Arum will do his best to get mileage out of that. Lomachenko has been beat by him. So the time isn't right yet to put him in with Lopez. They want to get more mileage out of Lomachenko. And when the time's right, they will go at it again. But it will probably be when Lomachenko's at the top of the hill coming down. And I think he's at the top of the hill now, and he just might slightly be coming down. But when he's coming down the hill a little bit more, I think that's when you'll see that fight again. That's what I think anyway.
I agree with you. I think it's all about now. I think boxing now and promoters, it's all about the fighter with the fighter with the biggest social media, following. And it's also down to the fighter who has the biggest territory and what community and which country they have. It's all to do with money. I think you're right. I think Lomachenko's style ages quicker than Lopez's style. It's a style that, his style is based on movement and reflexes.
Yeah.
And that is the first thing that go on a fighter, is that reflexes, and that then you find that the punch resistance goes because they're getting hit more, that they've never been used to being hit before, so on. But I genuinely think that Bob Arum was delighted that Lopez won that fight, because really that, you've got DAZN has Canelo now. They have that massive, Hispanic market. You've got Oscar, who's got a couple of up and coming Mexican fighters there, and you've got Bob Arum now. He was kind of trying his best to hold on to that. You look at years gone by, Bob Arum has always had a massive he's always had a fighter with a massive following from Mexico, and Lopez is certainly that. So I think it's in his best interest that, Lopez wins again. That's my opinion. It's all about money now, of course.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that, Ken. Yeah, I do. But
personally, I think he'll make adjustments in the rematch. I think Lopez is very upright at times, and I think you can see a lot what's coming. And I would like Lomachenko to win the rematch, and hopefully, it makes no difference to us who wins. It's just the spectacle. We want a good fight. We want a good spectacle. So we do. Last week, Eddie Hearn put out a comment on the Daily Telegraph, and this is hilarious. I actually thought I was reading. I actually thought I was dreaming. He said that basically celebrity boxing and the people like Jake Pauls and Logan Pauls and all these YouTubers are bad for boxing. Why would he say that after basically he started all this?
Well, listen, this is how I look at it, right? He's saying it because he's not got his nose in the trough with these people. Right? That's why he's saying it. But let's look at it like this. These YouTube fights, they're here now. It's here. They're on us. It's on us. Everything we said that's happened and everything we didn't want to happen has now happened. And boxing's in disarray. But the people need to take a long, hard look at themselves who run boxing. The boards of controls, sanctioning bodies. The media have played a big part in all this. Your Gareth A. Davises, people like that. And then we've got Eddie Hearn. Frank Warren, he's played a little part in this as well. They've all played a part in it. The Boxing Board of Control gave them licenses, didn't they, to fight in UK or allowed it to be joined?
Russell,
go on.
Let's rewind.
Yeah.
Freddie Flintoff.
Yeah. Board of Control, get him a license.
That was a Frank Warren. Card.
That was about 10 years ago, though, wasn't it?
Yes. That was. He was in training with Shane McGuigan, and he was everyone's mate in the gym. And Barry McGuigan was talking about he was this big puncher and all. Listen. Come back to what you were going to say, Russell. Why all of us? Do you think now that Eddie Hearn feels that because he's on the zone now, and he has to generate numbers, and he knows that the numbers that these people are getting is taken away from his platform?
Yeah, crying now. Boo-hoo-hoo. But yeah, he was the one that were putting Billy Joe on these fuckers undercard. Do you know what I mean?
So we had the worst ever, probably the worst ever title fight I've ever seen in Yildirim against Kaleno, and one of them brothers got in the ring, and Kaleno, apparently the security kicked him out of the ring. I seen something then. I seen, maybe for me, was that set up? Was that staged? I actually think long term, I think next year or so, that they're going to have an exhibition bout, and it's going to be that would be massive. I think that was the start of that. Yeah. Then the backstory, they're going to wheel him out. He's going to beat up, be punched up MMA fighters, celebrities. He'll beat a few journeymen. And could you actually see that exhibition fight happening between Kaleno and one of them brothers?
Yeah, I can see it happening. I can see Eddie Hearn doing it and saying, everybody's doing it. Listen, these people, right, are controlled by money. When you're controlled by money, you're very easy to predict. What about Eddie Hearn giving something back to the sport and saying, do you know what? This has gone on enough here. I made a mistake. I was trying to get numbers up, but I'm killing the sport. These people are slowly killing this sport that we love. And there's only us making a stand. And if we don't make a stand, nobody's going to say a word. But it's a knock-on effect from top to bottom. Look at the shows Dennis is putting on up here. I mean, fucking hell, fire. Have you seen what he's serving? Do you know Perry Howe has just fought a guy who'd had 35 losses on the trot? Not only the 35 on the trot and then a draw. He had a draw, then 35 losses. Up to that, he'd had 113 losses. This is a guy in his fourth fight, still undefeated. And he's a big ticket seller, but he's from white collar. Dennis has now shows are littered with them. He's given 26 debuts out in last 7 shows, and he's got another 30 odd to hand out before Christmas. Everybody wants to be a fucking boxer, but they can't box. The product's watered down. I've got statistics that prove it. You only got to look at the opponents on the right-hand side. Add all the losses up. These people shouldn't even be getting licenses. That kid that's fought Perry Howe from Latvia, my 9-year-old daughter would knock him out. Shocking.
Russell, firstly, I'm not a fan of white collar, one bit.
I am, if they keep it as white collar, but don't cross over into pro boxing.
Yeah, there's a big difference between amateur competition, even a good club show fighter. You know, you've got lads there who maybe aren't championship level, but they're a good club show fighter.
Yeah.
The difference between a good club show amateur and a white collar fighter is a million miles away, in my opinion. I'm not knocking anybody that does it.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But I'm all for the amateur system. And what you're saying is right. You know, it's Dennis's shows this last lot of months have been dire. One of my mates at football said to me the other night there, he's like, can't you see Cash Alley on the other night? And I'm like, yes, I seen it. He says, my word, he says, that card was, he says, I had to turn it off. I says, that's one of Dennis's shows. I says, terrible.
Board passing it on the board are passing these shows because there's nothing else on. But it's not fucking boxing. It's Dennis should be embarrassed. In fact, I've heard he is a bit embarrassed, but they're not going to send out while they're getting a few quid, are they?
Well, it's kind of now that because they're not on mainstream TV now, they're going to hemorrhage money. They're going to hemorrhage money, and it looks to me like they're doing their best to save every pound whatsoever. Like a lot of these journeymen and a lot of these guys coming in don't even have a cut man. They don't even get their hands wrapped. They don't even bring a trainer with them. They just come in. House second takes them. He gets paid by the board, and they're home again. I think it's dire. I think if you're looking to build fighters, you look back, Russell, 10 years ago, and you look at the journeyman we had in UK. We had journeymen like Hard Clark, you know, who would have turned up and he either would have beat you or he would have been beat or he would have held you. You had so many good journeymen. I don't even think we have that good standard of journeymen anymore. Never mind.
They're not journeymen, they're shocking. Look, Dennis has put 68 fights on in his last 8 shows. 61 wins, 7 losses. That's 90% wins, 10% losses. He says the 50-50s, well, they're not. They're 90-10. Out of them 68 fights, 49 of the opponents had losing records. 26 were debuts. Need I say more?
So you go back and you look at, I don't like saying small hall promoter. I don't like saying that. I think it's a bit disrespectful to the promoters who don't have TV deals. But those type of promoters who don't have deals, like the Steve Goodwins and what have you, their business is that type of scene without TV is all about getting people in to watch the fights, because the fights are 50-50 fights. That's how they run business. I am not going to go as hardcore as I am, Russell. I am not going to go and watch fighters beat 13, not in 13 guys, not in 10. I don't want to watch that. I want to see competitive boxing. And I think the boxers' future development depends on what they're getting early on. If they're not getting skilled journeymen, when they step up, they're going to get smashed to pieces. They don't know how to evade, how to hold, how to
What
hit.
about Bradley Skeet against Dale Arrowsmith?
That was the worst. That's been the worst one this year. You know, Bradley Skeet, Russell, was WBO #1 mandatory to Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And has been fighting all over the world. He's fought in Europe. He was British champion. There's that's absolutely, and talking about fighting for a world title after, that's absolutely shocking. I think the board have got so greedy. They will pander to promoters. It used to be the board kind of had more control. The British title is kind of worthless to promoters now. They don't want to use it.
Yeah.
They're using all these trinket belts.
Yeah.
I'll say, listen, we've spoke about this. It is shocking. It is a disgrace. I think there's no quality control in boxing anymore. And basically the promoters are doing what they want. You know, I'm going to ask you a question, Russell.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
So we have now £750 a ticket, okay, for a fight card.
Yeah.
We have got now the emergence of fight passes back out again. We've got things like StubHub. We've got pay-per-views every other week that aren't pay-per-views. Do you think boxing is not a working class sport anymore?
No, it is not. It's too expensive now. It's getting too expensive to go to boxing now. It's just expensive. You can go to Spain for what it costs to go for a night out with boxing. I know what I used to spend. Fair enough, tickets were free, but I know what I'd spend on booze and other things and taxes, and it's a dear do.
Who's to blame for that?
Border control, in my opinion, are to blame for everything. They're allowing it to happen for pound notes just to get shows on.
Will it get worse, Russell, or will we come out? Will people just?
It's getting worse and worse and worse. One of my mates has just been knocked back. 28-year-old cage fighter, 19 cage fights, just been knocked back for a license. And he said, "Why have I been knocked back?" And he said, "You were outspoken a couple of years ago about the border control." He never had a promoter, a manager, or a trainer behind him. He just went off his own back for interview for a license to fight. But yeah, they can give John Fuchs a license, dig him up after 7.5 years. They're re-licensing Dave Allen, so I'm told. And that Perry Howe, they've given him a license from White Collar because they've got Dennis behind them, haven't they? And Glyn Rhodes and all that carry on. This kid had nobody behind him. So why has he been knocked back? Because he'd probably knock all three of them out in one night, this kid. So what's the difference between him having a license and them? Because they're going to be going on Dennis's shows and putting a show on a week, which means Howard Foster and all judges and refs and bellmen, everybody's getting paid, board and all this. Everybody's getting free gratis. But this kid just wanted his license because he wanted to try boxing because everybody's trying it. And he's been fucking knocked back. And I'm going to do a video about it later on today. That's going to, or tomorrow, probably today. And it's going to go out probably tonight or tomorrow.
When a fighter, Russell, when a fighter goes on and talks about how bad boxing is and how bad it is for their health, and it's causing them all sorts of complications.
Yeah.
I think the first time a fighter says that, license removed right away. And there's fighters out there who've been talking like that. I don't know if they're looking sympathy. I don't know if they're looking attention. But Russell, once you talk like that, there, you should not have a license. How is that allowed?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, mate, but they make it up as they go along, don't they, in the sport of boxing? And whatever anybody says, whatever anybody says about a matchup in boxing, you can say, oh, that's a bad fight. And somebody can always say, yeah, but what about that? It's a bit like politics, mate. So it's subjective. But what's good for the goose isn't necessarily good for the gander. For example, I can hammer certain shows, but when it comes for the time for me to hammer that particular person's show, because they're putting shit out, I mean, utter garbage, that particular person don't like it. I said, well, you weren't saying that when I were doing other person's show. You were laughing your bollocks off. What's good for a goose ain't good for a gander, it appears. But in my honest opinion, boxing is dying on its knees and it needs ripping up and starting again. And it starts with the fucking border control. And if I could get the right people around me, I could change it all. I could structure it all. I could bring certain people on board who are not money motivated and just want to see the sport sorted properly so that fighters have got brain scans after sparring and fights, so that there's pensions like the football. When you're 35 at football, you get a pension. I've got friends, these here, when they've played football, they've got pensions that they're in the late 50s now, but one of them's got his pension. He's had it from 35-year-old and he's got another job. He's just doing a normal average job. But he's got that bit of money coming back from when he was a footballer. What do boxers get? What did Kirtland Lang get? What did Michael Gomez get? What do these guys get?
Nicky Booth.
Nicky Booth, what's Lee Purdy getting? Hey,
Richard Everett.
You could go on forever, mate. Neil Malpaz. What's John Fury getting out of the job? If he's somewhat a millionaire, what would John Fury? What would he have out of the job? He would a fighter. I mean, why isn't there anything for these fighters afterward? Why? They're discarded like rubbish.
You know, we have like a massive thing on mental health now. You know, there doesn't seem to be anything from the board are doing for mental health. I spoke to a friend of mine who's a business consultant, and I said to him about the boxing board of control and about, you know, what could they do, you know, for fighters. He says, Kent, all they could do is hire an accountant, and it would cost them very little. And that accountant could be there as a British Boxing Board of Control accountant to advise fighters what they do with their money. And it would cost them, like for an accountant a year, it's £300 to have an accountant for a year. So that would only cost them, and it's very, very little. Someone to come in, advise them in business. Russell, look at the amount of hand injuries now that boxers are getting. Hand injuries,
Yeah.
You know, the amount of hand injuries in boxing this last year has been the worst ever. You know, there should be even like bone density scans.
Nobody can wrap the fucking hands correctly. That's why.
You know, everyone's a hand wrapper, everyone's a cutsman, everyone's a strength conditioner, everyone's a boxer, everyone's a boxing coach. The list goes on and on and on. There's a mobile scanner that they can actually buy, and they could have a mobile scanner. They could random scan people. And, you know, for fighters to go and get scans, it's £800 scan, £800 to get a brain scan. And that comes out of their money. It's absolutely shocking. So, we could go on about this all day and we would just get so angry. So I'm going to move on, and I'm going to say, Russell, all of a sudden, Fight Pass has appeared again and StubHub. What's your opinion on that?
Well, it's all money-making schemes, isn't it? Back in the day, I mean, I've got a T-shirt somewhere in this office. Matchroom Fight Pass, my children's mum, back in the day at the time, sent off for it as a surprise. She goes, I've got a surprise for you. This is some years ago. I said, oh, what's that, love? This is why I strangled her. I said, oh, what's that, love? She says, I didn't really strangle her. But what's that? She said, oh, I've got you you remember a Matchroom Fight Pass? And look what else is sent, Russ. I went, what? She went, a T-shirt. And it said Matchroom Fight Pass. I goes, you fucking div. Why have you done that? She goes, it was only 30 quid. I thought it'd be a surprise for your birthday. I went, why would I want to fucking watch that load of shit? They put 2 shows on, didn't they, on Facebook, and give everybody a T-shirt. But then, what, the 13,000 people all wanted to get their Joshua ticket a day before. I mean, what sort of people dream up schemes where they're selling out Anthony Joshua tickets in space of a day? So, and there's loads of people, there were like thousands, saying, oh, we haven't got a ticket. So they said, I know what we'll do. We'll set up a Matchroom Fight Pass so people can get their ticket the day before. So all these people joined it, and they get Eddie Earn 30 quid. Now, Eddie earned 13,000 T-shirts and 13,000 first-class stamps. That's not a lot of money to take out of £390,000, is it? Because 13,000 members at 30 quid a pop, that's 390 grand a year, isn't it? And if you don't cancel it, they take the second year's fucking money, don't they? And send you another free bastard T-shirt in a different colour. These people are all about fucking money. They did it with snooker, mate. They kept chipping away and chipping away and chipping away at the World Professional Snooker and Billiards Association till eventually they fucking backed down, didn't they? Then they got involved, call it World Snooker. Am I right? Am I fucking right?
Absolutely right.
They did it with darts, but the darts stood firm, didn't they? So what did they do? They went and set a rival organisation up and made it bigger than the other one. Am I right?
Absolutely,
and they're fucking trying it with fucking boxing.
So, you know, StubHub again, it's back in the mix. So there's two things that are completely at the conflict of interest of fans. And, you know, for years we have heard Frank Warren, you know, Frank Warren has been very vocal about these two things, but he doesn't seem to be as vocal now this last couple of months. You know, come on, Frank, come on. So, why is Frank Warren not saying anything about this? Because he's been vocal about it for years now. All of a sudden, he seemed to went quiet with it.
Yeah.
We need Frank to speak out.
Look, listen, let me just say this about Frank Warren, right? Look, he's a boxing man, isn't he? But listen, if push comes to push, he would fuck you as look at you. He don't care for no cunt except himself. He's another one. These people look after themselves. And when the fucking when the heat is on them and they owe money, they just go fucking bankrupt. These people don't give a fuck about anybody. And nobody is fucking standing up to them. I'm the only fucking channel out here in front of the camera standing up to these fuckers. Anybody else who is, they're behind the fucking camera or speaking into a mic. I'm in front of it and I don't give a fuck about any of these lot. But no, Frank Warren, look, he can play victim. He's just like every fucker else. The chameleons, mate. Look, if he gets his feet under the table at Sky again, he'll put a good show on. They'll make him audition to get on there again. Once they get the feet under the table, they'll start fucking watering product down, mate. Listen, I look at it like this. You get, right, a pint of fucking orange, right? Cordial orange with no water in it. And you go, oh, God, that's fucking really sweet. That tastes really rich. And you're like, oh, brilliant. But gradually, you keep adding water to it till eventually you're drinking a fucking glass of water. That's what Eddie Earn's done. Do you know how? Once they give him that exclusive deal, he was looking for his next fix. He was looking to get rid of him. He was on $3 million a year at Sky off the boxing alone. DAZN is on $20 million a year. It's a no fucking brainer, innit? But DAZN ain't got the platforms Sky has, so that's why he'll fail. And when Eddie Earn fails, I'll laugh. People are saying, oh, Porky, if he does well, it's good for boxing. Is it? Fuck! It's good for Eddie Earn. I hope it fucking goes bankrupt, DAZN. And everybody else in boxing hopes the same, but they're not good enough. They're going to say, yeah, good for Eddie. It's good for everybody. It has a knock-on effect. If sport's doing well and Eddie's doing well, we all benefit. Load of shit. I hope you fucking go bankrupt. Sorry about that. I fucking lose my cool.
Listen, you're only saying what people think,
Yeah, fuck him anyway.
I can't see that the promoters in America wanting. I can see them pulling rank with DAZN. If they
John Fury pulling rank.
they'll pull rank. I think you've got business people like Al Heyman, you've got Bob Arum. I can't see them as even Golden Boy. We all know what's going on at Golden Boy.
Yeah.
But I can see all these organizations not wanting to work with DAZN, and I think they're going to make it hard for them. If they help them with their product, it's going to help that platform. But I don't think DAZN's going to be good for boxing. I think it's going to be good for Eddie and their platform.
Yeah.
We look at the fight card announcements, and I don't see anything in there that I really want to watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't want. There's not a trade fight in there, to be honest. There's not. And I think it's just more to come. Now that Eddie's going to be in charge of production with DAZN.
Okay, so they're going to be in charge of narrating story, aren't they then?
Yeah, so that's more money. They're going to have to pay for that out of their budget. And I think ultimately the product's going to suffer because they're paying for production. And I think that's just going to take away from the fighters.
I do. I think exactly the same thing, Ken. I think they're just going to stand there on a balcony, pull their little cocks out and take a piss on her. Because Eddie's got a little cock. He's even admitted he'd like a penis enlargement fucking in it. He said, I'd like a penis enlargement up to 11-inch Cougar. So Eddie's got a peanut in his knickers for a dick, right? He's going to get his peanut dick out from Penthouse and piss on all of us. So, oh, Eddie, oh, you're the best. You're the best, Eddie. Eddie's the best. He's going to take a piss, lag all over us like a fucking dog, and then go back into his penthouse. That's what he is doing. That's what this is, Edward. But nobody is saying a fucking word, only me. I'm going to save the sport.
Russell,
But
What about the DAZN commentating team and the production team?
load of
Do you
shit,
think-
all of the shit.
So do you think Tony Bellew will end up on DAZN?
Tony Bellew, right, has got his head that far up Eddie Hearn's arse. He's eating his food for him, mate. I'm sure he'll worm his way in at some point. Him and that Chris Lloyd, Caldwell and all them. Listen, let me tell you this. Sooner or later, they're all going to come back, cap in hand to Sky, and they're going to say, hey, up, is that Ed Robinson? Yeah, we're just letting you know that we haven't really got an exclusive with Eddie. And that, you know, we're open to coming and working with you guys. That's what they're going to do because Hulk Caldwell, he can't go away with Frank Warren, can he, after everything he's said about Bricktop? He can't go cap in hand to Bricktop because he's been knifing him for the last 10 years. So Hulk Caldwell's stuck with what Eddie has to say. If Eddie says jump, he'll go, no, Eddie, no, it's too high. I'm telling you, Sam, fucking jam. All right, Eddie. If Eddie says jump, he goes, how high, Eddie? No, Eddie, no. You got greedy, Eddie, no. Look, Caldwell will do what Eddie Hearn says. He's got nowhere else to go. Eddie's the only game in town for him. He's not like Joe Gallagher. Joe Gallagher can work with Bricktop, Mick Hennessy, Eddie, any of them. Caldwell can't, can he? Because he's burnt bridges. He'd be embarrassed to work with Frank Warren, a bit like Tony Sims and Robert McCracken. They won't work with Frank Warren. They won't do it, mate, because they burnt bridges, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
So Adam Smith in a video last month there, basically, Adam Smith's very clever what he says, Russell, at times. He kind of sinks people.
Clever? Clever? He's a fucking serial killer, mate. He's been getting away with it for fucking years, mate. He's had a longer run than Peter Sutcliffe. Adam
Smith is like a serpent of boxing. He says things indirectly, and he said the other week there that the team, you know, were actually he basically
the fucking team. As he ain't got a fucking team. He's talking like he's fucking Ron Cray. The team.
the firm.
Next he'll be calling it the firm. Yeah, you took the fucking word right out of my mouth. Next he'll be saying, yeah, the firm. The firm.
That was actually a really good Gary Oldman film.
Fucking The Firm. Fucking
Have
Adam
you seen
Smith.
The Firm?
I've seen it, mate. I've seen it, yeah. It's that football film, isn't it?
Yeah, Gary Oldman.
That's the original one, but there's a new one, isn't there? What's he called? Something Anderson, is it? I forget now. Anyway.
Wasn't great, but
the point I want to make is, look, Adam Smith, mate. Listen, Rumpelstiltskin knows what he's on with, mate. He is the original backstabber. They got rid of Glenn McCory, didn't they? But probably wanted getting rid of him. He was fucking out his head all the time, wasn't he? But point I want to make is these people will stick a knife in you as fucking look at you. Every man for themselves. I did a video on it, didn't I? On the thumbnail, they were jumping from one ship to the other. Am I right? And it's
like
not
parrots.
so long ago. That were over a year ago, and everybody said, Porky, you're a hater. But other people said, Porky, please don't leave YouTube. Listen, I'm telling you now, mate, I did a video on it. Adam Smith, last February, he saw that they were in trouble. When he got wind of this DAZN thing, and there were going to be no boxing for a while, what did he do? He fucking were working in London as a fucking revolving reporter, wasn't he? He then did a thing about darts commentary, refresher course, whatever they fucking do. He studied his darts. Let me tell you this. That prick, Adam Smith, and I know you're fucking watching, you prick. That prick, Adam Smith, he is out for himself, mate. He's been there 27 fucking years, mate. 27 years, free fucking gratis. And he knows that, hey, listen, I need to be looked after at Sky. That's what he's thinking. So he's going to look after himself. He's shitting his pants because Sky are just going to wheel him out now when they need him. They'll wheel him out when they need him because he made the mistake of putting his tongue up Eddie Hearn's hula hoop. You get a hula hoop like that. He put his tongue up Eddie Hearn's hula hoop that far. He had a personal relationship, but he got too close. And Eddie manipulated him. And that fucking Barney Francis, and between the old shower of shit, Hearn, Bean, Francis. Between them fucking three and that Ed Robinson's got away scot-free because he's quiet and he's not in front of the camera. That fucking shower of shit, throw Johnny Nelson into the mix, a.k.a. the company man. Between them fuckers, they killed it. They killed it, mate. They killed the cat, whatever they call it. They killed it, and now they're all scrambling for fucking cover. Well, fuck them. I hope they end up at fucking food banks.
It was, he basically said that certain people in that clique were employed by Sky.
Yeah.
And he said the rest of them were just contractors. So they're not actually
contractors, fucking hellfire. All in it to fucking give a lot between the whole lot of them. The cesspit that is fucking Grant Way, Sky, whatever it is, Middlesex, whatever they've done between all of them, they have fucked it. They fucked it, mate, between all of them. They were putting it up to 25 fucking quid at one point for shit. Utter shit. Here, who broke the fucking story on that? Who were the first person that said it's going to 25 quid? My mole in the hole at Sky told me, let me tell you. I had a mole in the hole there, and I still have. 25 fucking quid, mate. Embarrassing. Fucking embarrassing. And what did he do? What did the fucking do? What did he do? And what did he do against Andy Ruiz? He fucking got on his bike, didn't he? Anthony Joshua wouldn't engage you. Listen, Anthony Joshua's a shot fighter, mate. Forget all that beating up fucking Pulev. No, mate. Pulev, 40-year-old, fucking fat as a pig Michelin man. Listen, mate. Between all of them, they've all had a good do out of it. We haven't got proof that these fuckers, and let me tell you, that's what they are. Fuckers. These fuckers, I ain't got proof of it, but if ever I do, he wants to be on fucking Panorama. These cunts could or might have been getting looked after behind the scenes properly to pass these pay-per-view shows, because what they're fucking serving up is garbage. Joseph Parker against Chisora pay-per-view. Are you
worst ever?
Fucking laugh?
Worst ever.
Losses. I fucking can't get my head around it. £20 to watch that shit. And that's what it is. And it's been going on for far too long. And they continue to rinse it and rinse it and rinse it and rinse it. And then they said, bye-bye. Eddie just went, bye-bye. I'm going to the zone now.
And laughing.
And laughing his bollocks off because he's still got his foot in door at Sky with darts, snooker, table tennis, and whatever other shit that these cunts are fucking involved with. Look, these people are about money. The Hearn family now will probably end up billionaires eventually, in probably fucking 10 years. It'll be Barry Hearn will be fucking 6 foot under then, and Eddie will be grey as a coot, bald head. And the children will carry it on. That's what this is. That's what's going to happen. If people think that I'm bullshitting, well, you need to think again. That's what's going to happen. And these fuckers have had it off. And they don't do friends, they do family and money. Bellew, look, when it comes down to it, he ain't Eddie's mate. He may think he is, but no. Whatever he's got 500,000 people following him on Twitter, Eddie Hearn's going to need Bellew. He's going to need him to put extracts out. Look, is Carl Froch Eddie Hearn's mate? I don't know, but Eddie was saying they were mates, but he don't come out and say it fucking now, does he? Hey, why don't you big Carl Froch up? He don't get a fucking mention, does he? And Carl Froch fucking built Matchroom, let me tell you. They were on its knees till he signed with them. All they had were Kell Brook and Barker and Audley fucking Harrison. Carl Froch, what, 4th signing? What did Barker do? He won 1 world title fight. What did Kell Brook do? He won what? Was it 3 world title fights or 4? I think he won 4 world title fights. 4, 3
defences.
Jojo Dan, Frankie Gavin, and Kevin Bizier. So Barker and Barker beat Gill. 5 world title fights. Audley Harrison got fucking pay-per-view banned. So all that lot was shite. Carl Froch comes on board, brings pay-per-view back, doesn't he? Fought Glenn Johnson, Andre Ward, and then he fought Boutte, didn't he? And then fought Yusuf Mack and brought pay-per-view back. Kessler, 2 George Groves fights. That's what Carl Froch did. He put them on the fucking map. Wembley fucking Stadium, mate, let me tell you. And Groves played his part in that as well. But what did all them other fuckers do? Kell Brook, he got thrown under a bus. Darren Barker, first defence in Germany, fucking didn't even do any road work. He fought injured, didn't he? Darren Barker fought injured. Jumped on floor in round 1, ta-ta. That's Darren Barker for you. And Audley Harrison, load of fucking shit, forget him. Kell Brook, they fucking rinsed him, fucking threw him under a bus. Froch built fucking Matchroom. Carl fucking Froch, let me tell you. Sorry today, I fucking just fucking lost my fucking cool today.
I remember a couple of years ago that Eubank Senior had a lot of stuff to say about Matchroom, and there was
Who's this? Who's this? Old shoulder roll, brick top.
They all had something to say about Matchroom and all, and I was like, oh flip. But see, when you go back on it and you look at it, it's all been true. It's all been true. It's all the stuff that went on has been true. You know, my fighters are my friends. No, they're not. Stop talking.
My fighters are like my family. My fighters are like my family. Are they fucking Kell Brook, your family? When was the last time you fucking run Kell Brook, Eddie, you prick?
When you're taking a percentage of someone out of their purse that they've trained hard for, and you're getting millions off gate, TV, and sponsorship, that's not your friend. So don't even tell me that nonsense.
Look what Joe Gallagher did for Eddie Hearn. He was #1 boy at one point. Joe Gallagher, what, in Ring Magazine trainer, he had the best winning average of any British trainer ever. Won he fucking 50-0 at one point or something, Joe. 50 wins, no losses at one point or something like that. I think it might have been more, I'm not sure. He had all them British champions, European champions, world champions, fucking they were riding high, weren't they? Eddie Hearn were hanging out of the fucking back of him. When it come down to it, though, when Joe Gallagher needed a favour off him, when he got his words wrong in an interview and mentioned the word race or something, and fair enough, he put that right. What did they do? They threw him under a fucking bus, didn't they? Hey,
yeah.
And he spilt his guts for him, didn't he, Joe Gallagher? So I felt for Joe. I felt for Joe then. Do you know what? Ever since then, I thought, do you know what? Well done, Joe Gallagher, fucking standing up to them. Because I wasn't a big Joe Gallagher fan in the beginning, but I kind of like him now. But well done for fucking standing up for what is fucking right. He stood up for them, and he's mentioned about things that have gone on in boxing that he's not happy about. And fucking fair play to the fucking bloke for standing up and saying, you know what, this ain't right. Do you remember Butch Lewis doing that interview, and he said, Mike Tyson needs somebody around him to say, hey, Mike, don't do that, Mike. That's wrong. That's bad, that, Mike. Yeah, do that, mate, but don't do that. That's wrong. He needed that Mike Tyson, didn't he, in 80s and early 90s now. Joe Gallagher come out and he said, you know what? That ain't right, that. That's not right. And this is why that's not right. And everybody in industry went, yeah, fucking fair play to Joe Gallagher. But your Colwells and your Bellews and people like that, I've heard they were fucking getting like that. Trappy and on phone to fucking them lot down there at Essex. Oh, fucking Joe's a bit out of order, Eddie. Sticking the fucking tongues up Eddie's arsehole where he shits out of it. Yeah, and Eddie's like, yeah, what can we fucking do about him? Listen, at the end of the day, Joe Gallagher fucking spoke from a fucking fan's point of view and a trainer manager's point of view, and he's a fucking promoter as well. He does all a lot, doesn't he, Joe? So, fair fucking play to Joe Gallagher.
I've always liked Joe Gallagher, even back in the day when...
He's boxing Joe Gallagher, mate. He's up at fucking 6. He's in bed at 1 in the morning. Look what he's doing on 5 hours kit. He needs an MBE, doesn't he? The MBEs aren't willy fucking nilly. Well, Joe needs one.
This is a guy whose father was a head of the boxing club, and Joe come down, fought as an amateur, was taking kids as an amateur when he was fighting. He took over the club, taking kids around.
Phil Martin's club, was it?
Yeah, taking kids around a minibus all over UK, taking the club shows, championships. Now he's a established world-class trainer.
Yeah, Ring Magazine trainer at year, only British guy to ever win it.
Only ever. And
that was when Freddie Roach were winning it every fucking year, wasn't it?
Every year, and big high profile, basically it was the fighter with the highest profile that won. Their trainer got it. So it's not like the trainers actually deserved it. Joe Gallagher actually deserved that because he had multiple domestic, European, world champions. And the thing I liked about Joe Gallagher was that there was he spoke up for Jerry Story, and basically
he did.
Shane McGuigan was basically saying that I built Carl.
No. Shane
No.
McGuigan did not.
So basically, Carl had before Carl turned pro, he worked with a coach in Manchester in Moss Side who helped develop him before he turned pro. Then when he was over here in Northern Ireland, he was based in the Holy Family with Jerry Jr. and Jerry Story, and they were the coaches that were his pro coaches. Shane was brought in as a second to do the bucket and just be around the camp. And basically it was before the European title fight that day. Basically, McGuigan turned around and says, "You know what, Jerry, Shane's leading the corner tonight." He's like, "What do you mean?" He says, Shane's going to lead the corner tonight. And from that, Jerry just says, "Look, we'll honor our agreement tonight, and after that, we're not doing anymore because I'm the trainer. I've had 60 years in boxing, and to be treated like that was disgraceful." And Joe Gallagher come out and says, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It was Jerry's story." And Carl actually worked alongside Jerry as an amateur when he was over sparring with Paddy Daly in the Holy Family. That from Cards Club in Tigers Bay to Holy Family is less than a mile away. So they were in and out of each other's clubs for years. So it was nothing to do with Shane McGuigan. I'm sick. I think Shane's a great coach, brilliant coach, but I am sick to death. Who's the best young trainer in boxing? Shane McGuigan. He's been in boxing.
Because of his age, yeah.
He's been in boxing 10 years. He's young as in his age, but boxing age, he's been around the sport 10 years now, so he's not a young coach. There's other good coaches out there, but that's a different argument. But I respected Joe Gallagher from that, and here's me. You know what? Joe's got as much as people, he's like Marmite, he's like me and yourself. People either love you or hate you.
Hey, listen, he's just had 2 good wins at weekend.
It's great to see, and he's building up a stable now. He's getting a bit of exposure, and I wish Joe Gallagher all the best. And Joe, if you're watching, Joe, send me a Gallagher's Gym T-shirt, and I'll wear it in the channel. Porky, you should sort that out for me.
Yeah, Joe, give me a text, Joe, and I'll give you Kent's address. I think I've got it from that Robin Reed stuff I sent you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And we'll get you a Joe Gallagher. We'll get you a all you've got to do is go into Tesco. No, it's Waitrose Joe now, isn't it? Joe, sorry about that. We don't call him Tesco Joe now. We call him Waitrose Joe.
I was more Aldi Joe.
Aldi's cheap, but veg is good in there, isn't it? Veg, it's supposed to win an award, hasn't it, for veg Aldi?
The veg and the alcohol.
The freshest veg in the country, is it by 4 hours or something? They get it to us 4 hours quicker than Asda or something. I don't know. So, but yeah, listen, I ain't got a problem with Joe Gallagher no more. But he does his best for his fighters. Look what he did for Crawler. Look what he did for Beefy Smith. Look what he did for Callum Smith. Fucking hellfire. Callum Smith's worth about 8 million quid, isn't he? 10 million. So he's done well for him. And if you snap Joe Gallagher in half, he's like Phil Thompson, isn't it? Phil Thompson, it says Liverpool. Joe Gallagher, it says boxing, doesn't it? So
you said before that you respect anybody that drives kids around up and down at their own expense and their own hours. I've been there. I've helped out. I did it. I see what amateur coaches do.
Yeah, and all amateur coaches get my respect.
Their hearts in the right place. They're training kids. Like, there's a lot of coaches out there who are actually charging kids 20 quid to do a session outside of normal coaching hours in clubs. I would not see. I could picture Joe Gallagher in the ring doing pads for about 3 hours straight.
Could you?
And every kid round the ring watching the pod sessions and wanting to get called in. That's what I see Joe Gallagher. I think what's wrong with boxing? There's not enough people coming through like Joe Gallagher.
Yeah, I agree. Okay then, well listen, we've had an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you for coming on, Ken. It's always a pleasure. I do apologise for the swearing and the ranting, and I feel like I've got it out of my system today, don't I? But I do apologise. So, and I hope that you're okay, mate.
Thanks very much. It's great to get on. It's great to be on pay-per-view again.
Pay-per-view, yeah. We'll put well, I've got to get 2 videos out, you see. It's Monday today, and I've got to get 10 out on members. Yeah, that's how they work it. So, and after the 20 on YouTube, well, I've done 22 on there, but then 2 of them should have gone on this. I've just clicked it up and put them out there. So I've got to get another one out, and I'm gonna do another one now. I'm gonna do it straight away now because I'm going out for a bit of lunch with Chris Smedley. What's it called? My current top 10 promoters. So I hope you're going to watch that later today. But this is going to be going out. These are going out today. So this is going to go out in the next 20 minutes when I've uploaded it. And then I'm going to do this, my current top 10 world promoters. And then that's, I'll put the old porky spin on it. We don't talk English, we talk Porklish. And that's the 10 done. And tomorrow I'm filming Helmets. Wednesday I'm in London, I think. And Thursday I'm in Manchester. So I'm in Manchester Thursday. Got a big surprise for everybody. 2 big surprises. I'm a fucker, aren't I? So, okay, Ken. Well, thank you for coming on, and all the best to you and your family, and have a great day, what's left of it. And I've got the same T-shirt as you at home. I'm going to find it and wear it.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
T-shirts on here, won't we?
Don't forget to text Joe and get my T-shirt.
Wait, hang on a minute. I'll text him now while you're on here. I'll just turn my phone on now. Turn that on, 2 secs. Oh yeah. I'll text Joe now and we'll crack on. And I'll try and find my Kronk T-shirt. All right, my friend.
Legend.
You take care. Cheers, mate.
Legend.
Bye.
Take care.